up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get a little spicy. So if you're new to this video, whenever I do my Real Housewives reviews, I always have a spicy corner where if I find anything online that I feel like pertains to the review or the episode or just tea that I want to talk about, we talk about it before we get into the review. Well, for Real Housewives of Miami, I got a bunch of stuff. I didn't think I had that many things like screen recorded and screenshotted in my phone, but I do, and I feel like the review is probably going to be long enough because your girl be reading and she's long-winded, okay? So I decided to do a standalone spicy corner. So let's get into it. Y'all. So first up, let's talk about Julia and Issac Mizrahi being on Watch What Happens Live. When I tell you, if that was an indication of how Julia is going to perform at the reunion, she's gonna fall so bad. She is going to take such an L because you could tell that she was prepared for Watch What Happens Live, but also she wasn't prepared. Like, I think she got in her mind, like, if they ask me this, this is how I'm going to respond. If they ask me this, this is how I'm going to respond. But the issue is, I think when she was in the moment, you could tell that she was fumbling and really trying to think hard about what to say, and it just did not land. It didn't. It landed for Issac, but not anybody else. Because I didn't see anybody really talk about her second apology that she gave to Guerdy, even though Andy felt like it was such a sincere gesture. Is it gesture? Such a sincere apology, but it wasn't. It really wasn't, okay? So first up, let's talk about the question that everyone wanted to ask her, because I will say this. I have a couple of mutuals, and shouts out to my one mutual, Simone. When I tell you, she spammed the Watch What Happens Live, like, replies on Twitter, and she was really tweeting out good questions for Julia, and they were solid. Like, they were no BS questions, and I saw variations of that question too, but more specifically for the reunion. So Andy also put out his ceremonial tweet of like, hey y'all, we about to film the reunion and things of that nature. Give me your name and where you're from. And a lot of the questions were pertaining to Julia, and a lot of the questions were the same question, just in a different way. And it got to the point where I was like, you're going to have to ask these questions, Andy. Like, production can't like skate around this, because majority of the tweets that were sent to Andy and the quote tweets were about Julia. I didn't even see a lot of things about Lisa and Larsa going back and forth, or Stephanie or Alexia. It was all about Julia and the way that she has been behaving online and on the show. So I can see Julia and Guerdy being first chair for the reunion. I just don't know how they're going to do the seating arrangements, really, because I don't think any of the women are really on Julia's side like that anymore. I think they're slowly distancing themselves from her, because I've only seen... you know what? I have not seen anybody hang out with Julia, really. I've seen Alexia and Marisol kick it with Tamra Judge. It looked like they were at like a Red Sox game, and maybe it was like a promotion for Bravo, because there were a lot of Bravo people there, like fans, taking pictures with the three of those ladies. But I haven't seen anybody call on Julia for anything. I've seen Larsa and Kiki hanging out. I've seen Guerdy, what's her name, Lisa and Adriana doing press together. Ultimately, that lady put herself on the island. Julia put herself on the island, because I think Stephanie will be okay, because Larsa's still cool with Stephanie. But let's get into this Watch What Happens Live stuff. So first up, the first question that Andy asked Julia is like, why did you expect Russell to have your back after what you did to Guerdy? Or to see your point of view? So let me play that clip for you guys.
You want to know the number one question for you?
Let me guess.
Alex from Mexico said, why did you expect Russell to be nice to you after you threw water at her wife? Martina was super rude to Guerdy, and all she did was fail to join a Zoom call.
It's complicated. It's a little bit that I wasn't expecting Russell to be nice. I just, I wanted to talk to him like two humans. And I don't think Martina was rude to Guerdy. Martina is a little camera shy, and she just wanted to keep her to herself. And she didn't want to make a scene at Lisa's party.
Also, she is Martina Navratilova.
Okay.
Boom.
Live TV.
Can I?
We can't say that.
Oh, we can't. Sorry about that.
First of all, this response to this question didn't make any sense. One, I don't understand why it's complicated. It's not complicated, Julia. I think you realize that you made yourself look like a total fool. And you know, if you say the quiet part that is going around, like that's, on the hamster wheel in your head going around and around and around, that once you say it out loud, it's going to add to the embarrassment. Because there was no reason for you to throw a drink on Guerdy. There was no reason for you to behave the way that you're behaving towards Adriana and her, other than you are now clicked up with Larsa, Alexia, and Marisol, and you feel like you no longer need to be around these women or fake a friendship, which in return makes you look bad because at least the three of them can get away with it because they've been upfront about how they feel about these women. Like, people respect you more if you can be like, yeah, I don't like her. Or, yeah, like, she cool, but she not my cup of tea. These are my friends. You, on the other hand, your actions are more sinister because you played into the game of like, oh, these are my friends. I'm cool with these people. These are blah, blah, blah. And when you got an opportunity to be clicked up with who you wanted to be clicked up with, you dropped them. And that makes you worse than them. And I don't think you want to admit that. Secondly, for you to be like, well, no, I just wanted to talk to Russell human to human. Girl, no, you didn't. You thought that white man was going to be on your side because you're a white woman. And let's be honest, girl, at the end of the day, that's not Guerdy's boyfriend. That's not her fiance. That's her husband that she's been with for almost like 20 plus years and has 2 kids that was beside her fighting cancer. For you to ever think in your small brain that man was going to give you a modicum of like grace and he did give you respect because Russell had every right to like click out on you, but he didn't. He gave you a half smile and been like, okay, and he walked away from you. Way better than what your wife did, because I don't even get what Issac is trying to say. Well, that's Martina Navratilova. Okay, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dunk on the lady's accomplishments because Lord knows I'm not athletic, but I get it. It's similar to how a lot of the people in the Black community felt when that reporter or influencer disrespected Babyface at the Grammys, and the Grammys had to the company that the girl was reporting for had to come out and like publicly apologize because everybody was like, how you let this girl disrespect the Babyface? Like, we're at the Grammys, we're at the Grammys and you're disrespecting Babyface. So I can get where Issac is coming from, but at the end of the day, Martina's on Real Housewives. She is like a C character in all of this, all right? She's not important to the storyline, all right? But if she did not want to speak to Guerdy, then she had every right to politely disengage in the conversation and just say, hey, I don't want to get into it between you and Julia. That's my wife. We have a cordial relationship, but I really think that you two should talk because I don't want to muddy the waters. She was very cold and dismissive and nasty when she didn't have to be. And I'm not buying that BS from Julia saying, well, she's shy. She's not shy. She has performed in front of millions of people. She don't have no problem getting online, disrespecting other women, accusing them of being men. So she's not that shy. Also, she's not that shy to tell people that surrogacy is not right. And you can't have everything. So she's not shy. She's not shy. That was a BS answer, Julia. And you need to come better than this at the reunion. Because, girl, pathetic. It was pathetic. So the next question I want to talk about is Andy asking Julia about, what do you think about this surrogacy comment that your wife made?
You got a lot of questions wanting to know how you felt about Martina's surrogacy comments.
That's a question to me?
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
Martina and I share a bed, but we don't share a brain, and we not always agree on different views, but I believe in surrogacy, and it was kind of put out of content, and I completely disagree with her comment.
You're not in control of her Twitter.
No.
Yeah.
First of all, Julia, it was not taken out of context. Your wife verbatim, and shouts out to the people that take screenshots and re-upload them. She said surrogacy is just wrong. Sometimes you can't have it all. And that was in response to a lady that was writing a article about young women being aware of the risk of doing surrogacy or doing egg retrieval for like egg donations. So it wasn't taken out of context, lady. Your wife said it in 4K and got caught up after everybody like lambasted her with like, girl, are you stupid? Because are you stupid? You out here adopting babies. Do you think that's fair? Huh? Okay. Shut up, Martina. That's what a lot of people wanted to shut up, okay? And Julia's response was no better. I was expecting Andy to go harder on her, but even he tried to help her out at the end and being like, well, yeah, you don't believe, yeah. Because it was a bad look. And you could tell that Julia wants to keep this job because she immediately was like, we share the same bed, but not the same views. But that's kind of hard to think that you share the same bed with someone and you don't have similar views, especially somebody who is so vocal about her views. Okay? Talking about they took it out of context. Girl, you a liar.
Regret throwing the water on her.
It hasn't been a day that I haven't thought about it. And it's totally not my character. I was out of line. My emotions get hold of me. And Guerdy, if you are listening to me tonight, I want to say I'm very, very sorry. Even though I apologize to you already, I understand that I caused you a lot of pain, and I'm very sorry for it. Even though we kissed and made up later on, literally and figuratively, I know that probably watching the show brought a lot of bad memories.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to see you at the reunion to hopefully put it all behind us and finally move on.
Season. Say something. Yeah. I'm so glad you threw that water at that lady. Why? Okay. I liked her, but otherwise, like, what would the season be? I'm not kidding. Well, that's without the water throwing. Not the best take that I've ever heard.
I can give Julia about this much when it comes to her saying, well, I already apologized and we kissed and made up, literally and like physically, because we do see her and Guerdy kissing. So I would be slightly annoyed being like, girl, I've already apologized to you. We kissed and we made up. Why are you still mad at me? Why this and why that? But then when you think about Julia's actions where she hopped up online before Guerdy had even gotten online about it and did that long post about like, you know, I was in a hard place and me and Guerdy weren't in. You started this just like when you started it in the season over again. So it's like, if that was going to be your apology, then you could have kept it, because then you don't really mean it. You don't mean it. And even Adriana responded to somebody's comment where they were like, even though I apologized to you already, never sit right with me in a public apology. And Adriana said exactly, she is not sorry, because she's not. She's not. So you could have kept that. You could have kept it, Julia. You could have kept it. But she's talking about wanting to move forward at the reunion and putting this behind us. Because I know Julia definitely wants to be on for season 8. Because like I said, and like I've told y'all this before, it was reported that they're going to start filming for season 8 in January. They're also, I think I took a screenshot, or if I didn't take a screenshot, I did see that they are casting for Real Housewives of Miami for season 8 has closed. So we might be getting a new Housewives, and Julia might be scared that she is on her way out. Okay? So Isaac's comments, it was stupid and it was ignorant. I don't know if Isaac's like, you know, has his like ear to the streets when it comes to the fandom of Real Housewives of Miami. I don't know if he is seeing like how a lot of women feel like this has a lot of racial undertones, especially Black women and women of color. There has even been like a vast majority of like Black men and white women saying that like Julia's behavior towards Guerdy doesn't make sense and they don't like it, you know? And so I don't know if he would say that, but then again, he's 63 years old, so he probably feels like, y'all can't beat my ass, so I'm gonna say what I want. You know, because a lot of old people get like that. When they get to them ages, I say what I want and how I feel, okay? But yeah, it doesn't make, and mind you, I love a messy reality TV moment. One of my favorite reality TV series is Mob Wives. Okay, them women were in there throwing hands, okay? Okay, I like till this day, I still can't get over when Drita and Karen got into it, and Drita walked in there, threw her purse on that table, and said, "Karen, get up," and Karen got up, and they got to swinging. Okay, or when Renee, and I think the girl's name was Carla, when they were in the hotel, and Renee went up behind her and tried to put her in a chokehold. Mess. Or when Love punched Carla in the face, the other Carla, I think that's her name, and it was like I mean, whop, like she hit that lady dead in her okay, so it's like, I love a messy reality TV moment, but it has to make sense, and nothing that Guerdy has done justifies what Julia did. Nothing. Guerdy wasn't speaking poorly about Julia. Guerdy wasn't like telling the women this, and this. Guerdy wasn't going around saying Julia wasn't her safe space anymore. You did that, Julia. So now trying to make yourself a victim doesn't make sense. And Issac, it didn't make sense. Yes, we're talking about it, but it's actually kind of putting a negative light on a lot of people's on the show, because a lot of people have said they don't really like this season or want to watch this season because they feel like Guerdy's being ganged up on, and they feel like it's a lot of racial undertones. But I do feel like the show is going to course correct, because they don't want this show to turn into like a Real Housewives of New Jersey or a Real Housewives of New York, because a lot of people do like Miami, and I feel like the women on Miami know how to play the game and want to keep this check, so they are going to probably throw Julia under the bus, and she need to be prepared for it, because it's coming. It's coming, okay? So Issac's comments was stupid, and I was like, this is such a horrible take, dude. Horrible take. And Guerdy thought so as well, because she responded on 2 T's in a pod. So let me play that clip for you guys.
For Issac Mizrahi, if you're listening, I am disgusted. Disgusted. Unacceptable. And this is not for entertainment, okay? I was degraded on national television, humiliated, and how dare you?
And she sat there and just
grinned. Because if I was really sorry, I was going to say, you know what? I'm so sorry. This is not right. I really mean I'm sorry, and I don't need you to hype me up on this. Disgusting.
There was absolutely no reason it needed to get to that point. And if she did do it, and it was a reflex, like she's trying to claim, why not say, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry right now. I love you.
Julia
I'm
is
sorry.
a third physical offender, okay? Let's go back to Bahamas. She tried to pour an entire ice bucket on Marisol, and we helped make that not happen. And there's another situation that was not aired, okay? That was actually interesting as well. So we will discuss this at the reunion. For Issac
I did not think Guerdy was going to respond to Issac's comments. I thought that possibly she was just going to pay it dust and keep it moving. Like, you know, just let it roll off her bag. But I do think she has a right to respond to it. Now, what I will say is, I think the 2 things that I took away from this little clip that I heard was that, one, this is not the first time Julia has gotten physical. This is the 3rd time of her throwing something or trying to hurt somebody in that way. Because I did not remember her trying to throw a bucket of ice on Marisol, but I did see a bunch of people that I follow, some of my mutuals on Twitter, being like, y'all, this is not the first time Julia has pulled this move before. So I'm like, okay. So now we have somebody that's a repeat offender. Then we have another situation where they didn't air it, and I wonder who that aggression was towards, and now we have this situation. So I hope Guerdy brings that up at the reunion. Like, you're trying to paint me out to be somebody that I'm not, but you clearly have a pattern of behavior where when you can't control yourself, you like to throw things at people. What's that about? So then we have Teddy. I agree with Teddy, where Teddy was like, honestly, if this was a reflex, you would have told him, like, I see what you're trying to do, but no thank you. Like, what I did was messed up. You would have doubled down on your apology, and you didn't do that. You actually stood there giggling and laughing. Andy was the one that had to say, like, well, that's not it. Like, that's not good, because he knows that that's not good. So, like, Julia, you's a lame. You're such a lame. Such a lame. And so the last Julia interview clip that I want to get into is she did an interview with Ricky Cornish where she called out Guerdy for her ego, and also talked about how she says that the feud wasn't premeditated, that like she didn't concoct this plan against Guerdy. So let me play that clip for you guys.
You've apologized to Guerdy many times. You definitely want to get back on the right path.
I hope it's not premeditated and planned. I will ask her. I don't know. I don't know what she wants. I lost control of my emotions. I regret it almost every day when I think about it. And I know I embarrassed Guerdy and caused her pain, but I cannot undo it. It's done. You don't put your ego at such an important event. You don't do it at the expense of other people. Come to me, say it to me, however you want, but not at this event.
See, Julia, it's statements like that, her ego. It was her party. Do I agree with what Guerdy did? Not really. Like, I'm like, girl, I wouldn't make my party about her because that's all that everybody was talking about. The same thing what Kenya did with Britt Edie. Like, girl, I would have did this at somebody else's event. But she had every right to get her lick back. She did. She did. You disrespected her. You humiliated her. You threw water on her. You started this. So however she chooses to finish it is her choice. But to say her ego, it's not ego, girl. And it is given that this was premeditated. Like, you can go on about what she did being premeditated, but this beef feels premeditated, Julia. It feels like you didn't have nothing going on. You finally got in the group you wanted to be in, and now you felt like you wanted a reason to beef and fall out with Guerdy. You just miscalculated how people would perceive this situation, and now you screwed. That's a you problem. That ain't nobody else's problem but yours, okay? And to get more context about the beef, Guerdy was on the Val Files, and she basically explained that this cruise took place in 2023. And she was like, we're fighting about something that happened almost 2 years ago. And they didn't even film the season 6 reunion. So she's like, all of this, we were cool. We were fine. And then now all of a sudden we having issues. So let me play that clip for you guys.
Can you explain to our audience the beef with Julia? How did it all start? Like, what is her issue with you?
It all started, I guess, with her and herself because there was no beef. We went on a cruise in 2023, guys.
Oh, wow. What?
Yes!
This is like 2 years old.
And keynote, this is before we even go to season 6 reunion.
Oh, so this is like old.
I felt like I was on the Truman Show. I literally was like, what is happening? Please make this stop. So this whole time passes. 2023, we go on a beautiful cruise, myself and my husband. There's 3 different itineraries. She was for itinerary 2, I was itinerary 1. 2 passing ships in the night, I go home and she's on her way there. She then calls me and says, Martina can't go anymore. Something's wrong. But the way that she sounds, she's very emotional. And I'm like, is everything okay with Martina? What's going on? And she's like, no, I can't talk about it now. I'm in glam right now, but I'll tell you about it later. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, what do you need? Can you come and be with me on the cruise? You hear your friend in distress. You hear something's wrong with Martina. In my mind, I'm thinking that you know the worst. And I'm like, okay, I just got home, I'm packing, but I'll repack. Send me the itinerary. And so we go on the cruise. I hear that I am being placed somewhere else to have dinner alone because there's a private reception dinner that she is going to. Now, her publicist, who happens to be Alexis Bellino's publicist, tells me, we're all organized, your name is on the list. And I'm kind of like, okay, I guess I don't make a fuss about it. I go to where I'm swung. I go to the place and they don't even have my reservation. So now I'm like, oh my God, how embarrassing. Like, what am I doing on this ship?
Yeah.
I'm not mad, but I'm just feel like, what am I doing here? And I left my family to be here on this cruise with you. I just don't know what to do with myself. And this is like weird, right? And so I guess in her mind, that was considered an argument. Like she even said, oh, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have asked you to come on the cruise. But anyway, where are you? And we were supposed to meet for drinks later, which we didn't. Almost 2 years passes by. And the first time that she actually confronts me with it is at the wedding chaos and where she throws the water at me. And I'm kind of like, what is going on? So this got turned into Guerdy volunteered to be on a cruise. I just left the cruise. Guerdy made everything about her. This is night 2, the last event where I thought on the itinerary we were going to dinner together, but you swing me somewhere and I'm alone. Guerdy was talking crap about Alexia. And I'm like, I was actually imitating your Barracuda argument with Alexia in front of Jen Fessler. But she takes that out and says, Guerdy was talking crap about you, Alexia. So for the ladies, I'm kind of like, I can almost understand why they were like, oh, we don't with Guerdy because you have Julia throughout this entire hiatus that the show's off the air in their ear. And I'm the one that's like not in the know of what's going on. So that's the beginning of the season. It's like me going like this, like, what's going on?
I hope Guerdy has this level of calmness at the reunion because that's where she will win with these women and when the people, I mean, people already won over, but I just feel like for the people that are annoyed by her, like me, I want this type of Guerdy, because Guerdy was clear, she was direct, and she was very concise with what she was saying. And that will be the downfall of Julia and the rest of the women on that couch, because this story that she just told these people made absolute sense. Whereas when you ask Julia, oh, it's complicated, it's more to the story. Where Guerdy just lays everything out on table. Girl, you called me back in 2023 before we filmed the reunion for season 6 to go on this cruise with you. I thought everything was fine. Mind you, me and my man just got off the cruise about a week ago. You getting on the cruise the second wave, and then you call me telling me that something's happened to Martina. She's a cancer survivor. I got cancer. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Is the lady about to go up to the upper room? Like, what's going on? What is going on? I get on this cruise ship with you. You're not really giving me details, but yet you got me as like a tag-along. I'm not even like a plus one. I'm in your entourage because I don't get to attend events and things of that nature. You don't have me RSVP'd or anything of that matter. So it's like, why am I here when I could have been somewhere else? Just like Jennifer Fessler said, why can't we just pull up a chair for her? She's a part of the Bravo family. So what sense does that make, Julia? Then you over here getting an attitude with her because when she presses you about it, all of a sudden, like, oh, I would have never invited you. You knew what you was doing when you invited me before, girl. You know I got a man and 2 kids. What are you talking about? You know I was on this cruise before you. And then now it come time for this. And then I'm also glad that Guerdy added context about what Julia was saying when she was like, you are making fun of Alexia in the hot tub. Now we know that y'all were having a conversation talking about fights and things of that nature. And she was reenacting the fight that you and Alexia had where you called her a barracuda. Like, girl, really, Julia? See, that's the energy Guerdy needs to have. That is the energy she needs to have, where she's very clear, she's calm. Because when you meet people with calm energy and they're used to you being like wired up, it makes everything uncomfortable, and it also lets people know you're serious about the things that you are saying. So I hope Guerdy, girl, just come into that reunion on your shit, okay? Come to that reunion like that. So then the next clip that I saw about the Veil Files, they actually asked Guerdy about how she felt about none of the women actually making sure that she was okay after she showed the text messages.
I mean, how did that feel to have no one had your back? I mean, it's like you've known these women for so long, and like,
yeah, well, Lisa and Adriana weren't there, and you'll see actually Stephanie, steps up and like, listen, I'm gonna listen to what's going on in there, and they don't like it. Now it's kind of like, we don't want to hear the truth right now, we're too busy making a big deal about the type of party and when that she did it, and we're too busy judging all that they didn't even want to hear like the facts that would validate and just kind of squash the whole thing. So in my head it was like, okay, I'm going to, like, I went to ChatGPT. I was like, okay, like I already had, like just kind of like, this is what I want to say when I get an opportunity. And then all of a sudden when I'm like, I'm going to send it, I'm like, okay, ChatGPT, and that's when that speech comes up quick, and I'm like, okay, the truth about my party, okay? So it was really kind of like, I thought that would be, in my mind, I guess at that time, going to be the one that solidified the start over in a way. But obviously it didn't. And, so I should have probably like took a beat and calmed my anger and just like thought about it till the next day and maybe come up with another plan. But if not, then when, in my mind? Because when I think of it, it's like the reunion, it gets edited, you don't see anything, and and then chaos and confusion, people are talking over each other. So it would have never landed, I guess, in my mind then. So I just felt like this is the opportunity now. Do it now, like now. So boom, I just did it. And timing was not perfect at all.
So here's my thing. I just feel as though if you had to run the ChatGPT, then maybe you shouldn't have pulled this move, Guerdy. It's the same way I felt about Kenya when she had to take that hard shot alcohol before she did what she did at her hair salon to Britt Edie. It's just like, if you have to do all of that, then maybe we shouldn't make this move. Maybe we should sit on it, like she said, and really think about it. But I also understand her being like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? Because at the reunion, everyone's over talking everybody and all of this stuff. Like, I'ma do it now. I just really feel like, girl, you made your party about her. And then when they made that scene of storming out and you going after them, it was just like, dang, Guerdy, like this should have been like your moment where they all rally behind you. And if you were mad and still are mad, then find a different way to get back at Julia. Like, I still would have revealed the text messages, but the same way that a lot of people were like, oh, Kenya should have showed the poster boards with just the women. I feel like Guerdy should have released the text messages with just the ladies, you know? But that's just me. I don't think she was wrong in getting her lick back. I just feel like when she did it, shouldn't have been at that time. Okay, but that's just me as a viewer watching this. I don't think what Julia is saying, talking about like Guerdy's ego, girl, shut up. Shut up. Like, anybody else saying anything, I don't, like, especially on the cast, I don't agree with. Like, y'all have seen worse. Worse has happened. People have got punched in the face on this show, and y'all were okay with it, and y'all didn't act so frantically before. So I just feel like, you should have just did it at a different place. That's just me. That's just me. You should have did it at a different place, okay? So the last thing I want to talk about is the mid-season trailer. Now, I was going to react to it, but I decided just to get steals of things that I thought was very interesting that I took away from the trailer. So first up, let's talk about the trips. They're going on 3 different trips, and I'm excited. They're going on a cruise, which is crazy because we know Julia and what's her name? And Guerdy fell out because of a cruise. Then we also have them going to Spain, and then they're going to Marbella. I'm excited because I feel like Miami gives good vacation content. Then we have Jody and Lisa. Lisa's already trying to get Jody to put a ring on it, and Jody is telling Lisa, girl, I just want to make sure I'm not marrying into chaos. Girl, he just told you your life is chaotic and he don't know if he want to do it. And I don't understand why Lisa is rushing in to marry this man, because I think by this time in the season they had only been together for possibly 2 years. Like, you're not even fully divorced yet. Why not just like wait a minute? And also, I just feel like Lisa wants Jody to marry her so she has a benefactor locked in. But it's just like, girl, you're going to end up in the same trap you were in with Lenny. Maybe worse. I don't get it, Lisa. I don't. You need to go therapy and really hash out like why you can't be alone and why you need to depend on these men to take care of you. Then we see the further breakdown, maybe even the dissolution of Adriana and Julia's relationship. And mind you, I talked about this a while ago, like months ago in a spicy corner, where somebody was at this event, and I think this is the last event of the season, because we end up seeing Stephanie's mom in the background. I think it was a Christmas party, and you see in that video, it was only like 10 seconds long, maybe 15, where you hear Adriana saying, I see you for who you are, and she does this, and she was like, cool, and then she walks away, and then in the back behind behind them was the women sitting in these like half circle like sofas watching them argue. So I definitely feel like they are probably not friends anymore, and I wonder what Julia did to further push Adriana away or to this point, because even in that 15 to 10 second clip that I saw, you could hear the like frustration in Adriana's voice and the hurt in her voice. So I'm definitely wondering like what she did to further piss her off. Then we have Kiki. Girl, I don't know what Kiki going through, because she's sitting at the table crying, talking about she was sent death threats. And I'm like, what happened? Where did we get death threats? And the camera pans to Julia. So I'm like, are they talking about the fight that happened between her and Julia? Like, what's going on? Then we have her telling somebody, you are too old to be arguing like this, or to be speaking this way, or to be acting this way. And I mean, it was very like pointed, and I wonder who she's yelling at. And it looks like she was at a dinner with Guerdy, Lisa, Julia, and maybe one other person. Maybe she was there with Adriana, because it did seem in one of the interviews that Adriana and Kiki kind of fell out or had issues for a moment. So I'm not sure, but I'm like, it's either to Julia or to Adriana or somebody else that was at that sit down. But the camera doesn't show you who she's arguing with, so I don't know. But I'm thinking, based off of the interviews that I've seen, especially that one that I covered on the channel on Watch What Happens Live, Kiki said something about Adriana not being a good friend or not being a genuine person. So I wonder if that's who she's yelling at the table. And then lastly, we we have the scene that really like pissed me off. Well, I won't even say pissed me off. It irritated me because I was hoping Guerdy wouldn't pull a Wendy Osefo, and that's what she did. We have this scene of them making out, her and Julia, like they make out and hug each other and they're kissing on each other. And I was irritated because I was like, Guerdy, this is why people are like, I can't be as mad as I can't be more mad than you, and it didn't happen to me, because there's no way that I would be hugged up with Julia. We'd be cordial, but I wouldn't be putting my lips on her. I wouldn't be putting my tongue in her mouth. Like, we would not be doing that, Guerdy. And I was just hoping she wouldn't pull a Wendy, because that's what Wendy did during season 7 of Real Housewives of Potomac. And it's crazy, this is season 7 of Real Housewives of Miami, where after Mia threw that drink on her, next thing you know, we find out that they over there showing each other they boxes, they coochies, like they're showing each other their privates. And I'm like, why are you showing that lady your box? She just assaulted you with water and then hit you upside the head with a with her purse. And now we have this with Julia and Guerdy, and I'm just like frustrated because I'm like, y'all don't know how to like hold on to your anger. And I don't want to hear anything about like, well, you guys, it's a toxic environment. I can say this as a black girl, a black woman who grew up in the white suburbs of the South. I get it when you're in a uncomfortable situation where you're the only one, or you're like 1 out of 5 kids in a classroom full of 30. But that taught me how to hold on to my anger and hold on to when I know I'm right. Because sometimes holding on to your anger is just. Holding on to your anger can actually get some done when you need it to be done. So I've never, like when I was young, I can't even say never. There were moments where I tried to like dim myself and tried to like be like, you know, maybe I shouldn't say. But then after a while, you get tired of doing that. And there would be no way after someone threw a drink on me that next thing you know, I'm hugged up with them. There'd be no way. No way, bro. I wouldn't kiss you. I wouldn't be showing you my coochie. Like, what are we doing? I was so frustrated when I saw that. And I said, you know what? I'm not about to be that invested in this if I know this is going to be the outcome. All I hope for is that Guerdy comes to that reunion and she really lays into Julia and maybe they move on. I don't know. Because it definitely seems like with Guerdy kissing her and them hugged up on each other, when we get to the reunion, they're probably going to bring Julia back for season 8 because they're going to be like, well, Guerdy did this. And because I think that's the same thing that happened with Wendy and Mia. Girl, you're over here crying about her throwing that drink on you and all of that stuff. But yeah, y'all were showing each other y'all coochies. And then next thing you know, she back for the next season because y'all kind of wiped the slate clean with her because you didn't stay like in your anger. It is what it is. All right, y'all, that's all I got for you guys today. Please be on the lookout for my review coming here soon, as well as remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below, subscribe, and like the video. And I'm out, guys. Deuce.